What if I told you that one of the most dangerous goal scorers in women's football came from a country many football fans around the world could struggle to find on a map? Her journey started in Malawi. It took her to Sweden, then China, and eventually to the United States. Along the way, she scored goals at a frightening rate. In 2023 alone, she scored 63 goals. In America, she broke records. She won golden boots. She became an MVP. Then she did it again. This is the story of Temwa Chawinga, from Malawi to the world. Before the records, trophies, and international headlines, there was a young girl growing up in Malawi. Temwa Chawinga was born on September 20, 1998. She grew up in Rumpi in northern Malawi. Football wasn't yet the global stage that it would eventually become for her. But there was one thing that flawed Temwa from the beginning. She developed her reputation in Malawi before taking the enormous step of leaving home to pursue football abroad. And that decision would completely change the direction of her life. For many young African footballers, playing professionally in Europe is a dream. For Temwa Chawinga, it became reality. In 2017, she moved to Sweden and joined Scorchers IK. This wasn't just a move to another country. It was a completely different football environment. A new language, a new culture, a new level of competition, and a chance to prove that what she had done in Malawi wasn't a coincidence. And she answered that question the best way she knew how, by scoring. Across her time with Scorchers, Chawinga scored 55 goals in 57 appearances. That is almost one goal every time she stepped onto the pitch. In 2020, another chapter began. China. Temwa joined Wuhan Jianghan University, and this move would eventually produce some of the most extraordinary numbers of her career. She wasn't simply becoming a better player, she was becoming a goal-scoring machine. Season after season, the goals kept coming, and then came 2023. 63 goals in a calendar year. 51 came for Wuhan, 12 came for Malawi, 63 goals in total. It was not just an impressive personal season. It put Temwa Chawinga at the top of the women's world scoring charts for that year. The girl from Rumpi had become a global goal-scoring phenomenon. But there is another side to Temwa Chawinga's story. She is not only a club footballer, she is also a Malawian international. And when she puts on the Malawi jersey, the goals become something more than statistics. They become moments shared by an entire country. Temwa made her senior international debut at just 18. In 2016, she scored her first international goal against Zambia. And over the years, she became one of Malawi's most important attacking players. Then came 2023. At the COSAFA Women's Championship, Temwa produced 9 goals. She won the Golden Boot, she won the Golden Ball, and most importantly, Malawi won the tournament for the first time. By now, Temwa had proven herself in Africa, Europe, and China. But there was another challenge waiting. America. In January 2024, Kansas City Current signed Chawinga. She was entering the National Women's Soccer League, one of the strongest women's football leagues in the world. And there was an obvious question. Could she do in America what she had done everywhere else? The answer came very quickly. Yes. In her first NWSL regular season, Chawinga scored 20 goals in 25 appearances, 6 assists, but the number that really mattered was 20, because no player had ever scored that many goals in a regular NWSL regular season before. She also scored in 8 consecutive regular season matches, and she scored against every one of the league's 13 opponents. By the end of the season, Temwa Chawinga had won the NWSL Golden Boot, but there was more. She was named the league's most valuable player, and with that award, she became the first African-born player to win the NWSL MVP. Think about the journey. Rump, Malawi, Sweden, China, America, and now MVP of one of the world's biggest women's football leagues. But football has a cruel way of testing success. Once you reach the top, everyone wants to know if you can stay there. And Temwa Chawinga had another opportunity. 2025. 15 regular season goals, 3 assists, another golden boot, and another MVP. Back-to-back MVP awards. She had gone from newcomer to champion to record breaker and then repeated the achievement. Sometimes, the best way to understand a footballer is to forget the headlines and look at the numbers. 30 regular season goals in just 40 NWSL games, another record. And these numbers reveal something about Temwa. She doesn't need one particular environment to succeed. Sweden, China, America, different leagues, different opponents, different football cultures, same result. Goals. But perhaps the biggest reason Temwa Chawinga matters to Malawi is not the records she has broken overseas. It is what those achievements mean to the next generation. A young girl watching football in Malawi can now look at Temwa and see something different. She can see a pathway. Malawi, Europe, China, America, the biggest stages in women's football. Temwa's journey tells young footballers that the distance between Malawi and the world's biggest football stages is not impossible to cross. And as Malawi's women's national team continues to make history, players like Temwa have become symbols of Malawian women's football can become. And as Malawi's women's national team continues to make history, players like Temwa have become symbols of what Malawian women's football can become. Behind every goal is a person. Behind every trophy is a sacrifice. And behind every record is a journey that most people never see. We see the celebrations, we see the trophies, we see the headlines, but we don't always see the years of training, the traveling, the pressure, the moments when things didn't go according to plan. Temwa Chawinga's story is therefore bigger than football statistics. It is a story about persistence, about leaving home, about adapting, about competing, and about refusing to let the size of your country determine the size of your dreams. From Rump to Sweden, from Sweden to China, from China to Kansas City, from a young Malawian footballer to a world record goal scorer, 2 golden boots, 2 MVP awards, and a career that is still being written. Temwa Chawinga has already shown the world what one Malawian can achieve. But perhaps the most exciting part of her story is that it is not over yet. This is Temwa Chawinga, and this is only the beginning. If you like this video and you like this kind of stories, subscribe to Katomfu Media and get connected.